Welcome to the Quiet Unraveling, where the most terrifying place isn't the dark outside but the darkness within. Original psychological horror stories designed to blur the line between reality and madness. Now I know what you're thinking. Haunted hotel rooms, flickering lights, things that go bump in the night. You've heard it all before, but this story isn't about what's hiding in the shadows of a room. It's about what checks out with you when you leave, what follows you home, what settles quietly into the empty spaces of your mind and makes itself comfortable. Tonight's story is called The Haunted Room. Get comfortable, turn the lights down, and try to remember the last hotel room you stayed in alone. Nobody warned him about room 214. The Aldrin Hotel had 47 rooms, clean, neutral, unremarkable. The kind of place business people pass through without remembering. But room 214 had a history, and the receptionist who handed over the key that Wednesday night knew it. She just didn't say anything. His name was David Marsh. Practical, logical. The kind of man who laughed at horror movies and had never once checked under the bed. He unpacked, showered, and got into bed without a second thought. At 3 a.m. he woke up. Not gradually, suddenly, completely, like a switch had been flipped. The room was dark and still and quiet, except for the smell, cigarette smoke, dense and stale and specific. The smell of a room that had been smoked in for years. He checked the bathroom, the wardrobe, the window, nothing. The smell was simply present, and then after a few minutes, it was simply gone. He went back to sleep. The second night was worse. He returned to the room after dinner to find the television on. Volume low, tuned to static. He stood in the doorway staring at the gray flickering screen before walking in and turning it off. He had not turned it on when he left. He called the front desk, asked if housekeeping had been in. They said no one had entered the room since the previous evening. He slept with the bathroom light on. The next morning he asked about the room, casually, over breakfast with a young staff member named Daniel. Mentioned the television, the smell, laughed it off like a funny story. Daniel didn't laugh. He set down his coffee and looked up with an expression that could only be described as carefully neutral. The expression of someone deciding how much to say. Room 214 has a history, he said. A guest had died there 7 years ago. A businessman on a solo trip. Found by housekeeping in the morning. No signs of struggle, no medical explanation. He had simply stopped living sometime in the night. Our guest told before checking in. Daniel looked at his coffee cup. We're not supposed to talk about it. He should have switched rooms. Instead, he went back to room 214 for the third and final night. He woke up at 3 a.m. again. Same sudden completeness. Same dark, quiet room. But this time there was a man sitting in the chair by the window. Middle-aged, dark suit. Completely still. Face turned toward the parking lot outside like he was watching something in the darkness below. The bedside lamp clicked on. The chair was empty. The indentation in the cushion looked fresh, like someone had just stood up. He called the front desk, told them he needed to switch rooms immediately. The receptionist, the same woman from the first night, paused before she answered. Of course, she said. We've been expecting you to call. He grabbed his bag and left room 214 without looking back. In the hallway mirror, he glanced at his reflection out of habit. The reflection was sitting down. He was standing up. It looked back at him with an expression he recognized. The careful, neutral expression of someone deciding how much to say. David Marsh checked out of the Aldrin Hotel the next morning and drove home without stopping. He never spoke about what happened in room 214, but the people closest to him noticed something had changed. Something small and difficult to name, like a light behind his eyes that had quietly gone out. Some places collect things. Room 214 had been waiting 7 years for the right person. The real question this story leaves behind is simple. How would you know if something followed you home? You wouldn't hear it, you wouldn't see it. You would just slowly, quietly begin to feel like yourself a little less each day. If this story got to you, hit that like button, share it. Subscribe to The Quiet Unraveling for new psychological horror every single week. Comment below. Have you ever felt like something came home with you? I'll see you in the next one. Sleep well.